What's going on, team? Welcome back to Start Swing Trade. Starting up a little bit earlier today, as of course, I got some things that I got to take care of after the market today, but we'll see what happens. Let's get into the market really quickly. It seems like the markets are screaming what? They're screaming correction, all right, as the SPY is down there towards the 450s. Exact levels I gave this morning were 450s on the downside to watch for that support to come into play, but also closing down here means one major thing. We're starting to break trend. And this is very important to kind of catch, team, as the markets start to break trend. This is when I got to say, this is the now or never moment to go ahead and take some profits. Like always, you guys determine where you take those profits. But right now, I'm thinking rotation starting to go against me. And I think that that's very important to catch very early before the rotation really gets down to here, right? To the 440s. And it really starts to rotate against you. And what does that mean? Well, a lot of times you're going to see stocks pull back and give back some of the gains that you had, right? Tech names. Look at the AMD move that we got today. A big part of that tells me a lot, right? As you guys can see, this thing went down all the way down to 107 today. As yesterday, it popped all the way up there to 125. That's a wicked trap move there on AMD as it's right back down there towards that 110 and catching a little bit of the bounce. We got to continue to watch to see what happens in the market overall. It has not been good from some of the bigger boys, right? Let's take a look at what's going on here. If you take a look at Microsoft, look at that continued downside action. Not what we want to be seeing in Microsoft. Even Netflix started to come back. But what does it do today? Right back down. And it just seems like the stocks that have been reporting are not getting the lift. Of course, we'll keep watch to see what happens with Google. Google did pop, but now has pulled back. We'll watch, of course. The bigger boys are going to maybe shake this things up, right? Amazon, Apple. And tonight, we'll be getting mentions from who? From Qualcomm. I think this is a very important mention today. What are they going to be saying in AI? And this is one that I've been talking about as a good looking stock from around the 120s, now up there to the 130s. This could keep going with the earnings report tonight. I think we got to watch out for mentions to see what happens here. But if they start to tell us that, kind of demand is slowing down in the phones, that's where you got to be a little bit careful. But one thing I expect to see from Qualcomm is some new mentions, right? What are they planning on doing with AI? What could they really kind of get to the next level? And when would an AI kind of chip really be coming towards kind of the phones? I think that's something to look out for. We'll see what happens there on Qualcomm as it keeps going to the upside. All right, let's take a look at the trading action today. I did take a new trade I'll talk about coming up, but let's get to the other ones that I already have. Of course, I did have PXD, and today I'm starting to think that maybe we just had a little bit of a blow off top here on PXD. I haven't taken all the gains, but I did set a stop right under this to go ahead and get out if it starts to pull back on me. So I'm going to be continuing to watch. That's 228.82s. So we're really close to that getting out of this PXD trade, which has been a really good trade. Let's just be honest. It's been pretty much straight up the whole time. It's been about 2 weeks where it just started to get moving. Now we'll see what happens there. XOM also established an area to get out. Below the 105s, I really don't want to let this get to 104.50s. I want to see XOM start working its way back through 106 and getting through 108s. I've talked about this plenty of times. What happened today? Well, take a look at crude, and that's definitely weighing in on oil as WTI is trading down there towards 79.89. Went to a low of 79.05 on the day's range when it started the high of the range at 82.43. And I'm really starting to see 80 act as resistance for WTI. So this could be coming right back down. And I definitely don't want to be giving up my gains, right? The same way that I was quick on the downside to cover and take gains on XOM, I want to be quick and take gains on XOM to the upside. So I just got to be smart here. No matter what, I've already set a stop on XOM that it is going to be a winning trade. Now the only question is how big of a winning trade, right? We'll have to keep an eye on that. All right, there is two that I did get stopped out today. One of them I got stopped out break even. I just didn't want to risk a penny on this name, which was LAZR. And is this a bad name? By any means, I don't think this is a bad name. It did start getting the lift, but it's just not something that I want to hold on right here, as it did cut me out today. Break even, pretty close to the low of the day. So technically, you would still be up on this name, probably about 2.6% if I held it. But I didn't keep it on this. I'm not liking the action that we're seeing today. Now, could I see LAZR lift up above this and end up going there towards 850s? Yeah, I could eventually see that happening. But for right now, I don't want to play part, as the market is just showing me a little bit of, hey, we might do some correction here. And I don't want to be too long on growth names during that correction. I want to wait that correction out, and then I can get back into these names as I look for another ramp up in the market. All right, of course, BJ is another one that I've had on for a little bit of a while now. We'll see if this one can continue going. It's trying to fill in the gap there towards 69. I drew this on July 5th. We've been up a pretty good amount here on BJ. I'm up about 4.18%. I'm even looking to take some profits if I can get just a little bit more here, team. So I'm looking into the 67s, like 67.80s. If I can get 67.80s, I'll take it all out. I've already taken some profit close to 67. I'm just looking for one more move towards the upside to take a big gain here in BJ's Wholesale Club. And I'll be going to BJ's later today. I got to do a little shopping. Just switched over from BJ's from Sam's. So who knows? Maybe that can help me. We'll see how much I spend at BJ's later today. All right, let's keep going. I see you guys out there. Raz saying Meta took a dump. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we're starting up now. I'm sorry that I came a little bit earlier today, guys. It's just really what it's all about is that, you know, I'm looking to see that I have some things after work. So I was just like, I got to do a show for you guys today. There's correction. There's a lot going on in the markets. The Qs are coming back down, right? And I think that this shows me a little bit more weakness than even the SPY. SPY is still kind of holding off the support, but really what we're also seeing is that the RSI is starting to show that turnaround too. I talked about this multiple times around the 85, 86 level. It seems like the SPY loves to turn around, and we're clearly seeing that happen right now. Now, the only question is, how long will it take to get down towards like the 443s and maybe look to see if we catch a little bit of a bounce? And of course, if some earnings reports keep knocking us down. All right, let's keep going. Let's go to my new position that I opened up today, which is Humana. I don't know if you guys paid attention this morning on live trading or on pre-market prep. We talked about Humana and how this was getting the lift. It seemed like an easy trade in the past, and I went back into it today. I saw this kind of pattern kind of going off of this 480s, and I said, you know what? I'll take a shot. This did get almost to my first profit, which I wanted to get up there towards the 490s. It got up there to 488.79. I got really close to taking some profits. It didn't hit, but I'm going to look to see if we can get the spike in the next couple of moves and look to take some profit. I would love to take some out before I swing it overnight. We'll see what happens here on Humana. I opened this position today at 481.18s. Got to keep it small, take some profits, and look for this to keep going. We'll see what happens there in Humana. Did I stop out in charge point? Yes, I stopped out in charge point at break even right out the gates. So I was in this one from 814. I even tried to add to charge point. I didn't want to be in it through 8 no matter what. So I said, you know what, in the pre-market, I don't want to be in this stock if it's going to keep just going sideways here. Can it recover? Yeah, it could have just done that kind of undercut and rally through the 8. And you can see it. It's back up through 819s. But I just feel like this market right now doesn't want to take the next ride up. And so with that being said, I'll look to see if charge point gets back above 850s. Maybe I can get back in the trend there for a 9 break. But for right now, it is on the pullback. All right, let's keep going. What do you think about swinging the QQQs long? I think you're asking to get hit a little bit now, right? It made sense when you were right back here, but if you're going after something now, look how it's starting to break this 9 EMA. You would have to go off of the next layer of support. Next layer of support is around the 372 spot. So if you want to risk off the 372 spot and you think this market could come back to 382s, yeah, I can see you going after that. That's about like what, an $8 upside outlook for a $2 downside outlook. That can make sense on risk and reward. But like always, you make that call. The SQQQs actually had a nice little move today. And this looks like it wants to continue going. So now I'd be looking for this to hold 18 on pullbacks and get the next lift. Talked about this before this even happened this morning, that it looked really good for a day trade to 18. And for the swing traders, we'd be looking for a close above 18s to really show you that strength. Now you're really starting to push higher as the SQQQs start to go higher. And of course, you can take a look at like SOXS, things like that reversing off the bottom. All right, let's keep going. We can take a look at some other stocks. Let's get into the sectors and the rotation out there today. Defensives leading the upside action, and what did well there? Let's take a look here as pharmaceutical retailers do well today. Walgreens Boots Alliance getting a little bit of a bounce. I saw Rad was getting a little bit of a bounce as of late. Look at that little spike there. Rite Aid with a nice little push higher towards the 224. Can this one get a lift here towards the end of the day? Who knows? It could get a little bit of a pop there off the 220s. We'll look to see if that kind of holds here, gets that next lift up. And that's Rite Aid today. Of course, pharmaceutical retailers also getting the lift here. While Walgreens, CVS, not doing too bad today. Healthcare plans doing well. And that's another reason why I'm in Humana, as CVS got back all the losses from this morning and then some. So we'll see what happens there on CVS. But let's go back to the defensive area. Farm products also doing well today. ADM, Tyson starting to get up there. One that I did see make a nice move here was Bunge. Bunge's been making a nice little lift here. BG. So BG with a nice little push off that 110. Be looking for pullbacks towards that level, but not looking too bad in Colmaine Foods. So it seems like these farm products are starting to get a little bit of some run. I think this is more have to do with the worriness in the market. So a lot of times when you go and you take profits in certain areas, you still have to have exposure into the market. So they look at defensive names to get that exposure. We'll see if they go higher. Mondelez and Hershey's coming back today after really getting hit yesterday. And so I would not be in front of this move here. I wouldn't be shorting Mondelez because I have a feeling that, at least October is right around the corner, and that these stocks probably might get a lift as we get closer to Halloween. Candy's expensive now, man, and they're finding ways to make incredible margins now. If I see the prices of candy nowadays, it's incredible. And I wish I had access to, like I used to when I used to be a manager at 7-Eleven, and have access to like the cost per goods and things like this for candies, because I feel like candy has really taken off in price. But is it really that expensive anymore to make? Did it get that more expensive in the pandemic? No, it really didn't. I just think these companies are trying to make more money. Hershey's, another one, right? That one had actually a short report. It's actually worked since that short report, but we'll see if it comes back up. And that's Hershey's. All right, Mondelez has been my favorite, long been in there since the 60s. Hey, Raz, that's not a bad one to keep in mind. Boring food stocks. Yeah, boring food stocks. Not doing too bad today. Why don't you have 7-Eleven friends, Mitch? Why? I actually do. I could probably reach out to a couple of friends, and I could reach out to an old owner that still owns a couple of 7-Elevens in Florida. But who knows? Maybe I need to do a little research in this area, confectioners for us, do a little boots on the ground, find out from my 7-Eleven managers how things are going. All right, let's keep going. Let's get out of that area. Of course, you guys can keep an eye out also on discount stores. I've talked about that for a while now. Walmart, Costco, will those keep going? Keep your eyes on that. Target, DG, Dollar Tree, keeping an eye out on these stocks. Ollie's just been hanging out here at the top. We'll see what happens if any of these start to take a downturn. Of course, I'm in BJ's Wholesales, which is in this space. Let's keep going. Let's out of the defensive space. Let's take a look at utilities, as utilities bouncing back today in the green as they got hit yesterday. Nextera, a little bit of a bounce back. Duke, a little bit of a bounce back. But these areas that I want to be in, no, I don't want to be playing the utilities as much. And when I do play them, I play them for very short move. Maybe 1-2%. They don't usually keep the trends going. And that's my problem with the utilities. They're just kind of really quiet. All right, let's keep going. Tell us the truth about 7-Eleven hot dogs. What do you need to know? They're all beef, man. They're all beef. That's all I know. Oh man, I used to definitely keep my eyes on the hot dogs because they used to be on there for a little bit too long, right? You got a 2 hour limit. You don't take them off, they ain't gonna be looking that good. All right, let's keep going. And man, those taquitos. Oh, I used to eat too many of those. I don't know how I look this. I don't know how I like look this good still, man. I mean, taquitos, they're not the best for you. All right, let's keep going. Let's get out of the taquitos. Let's take a look at real estate as that starts to pull down. And it looks like sectors overall, right? You guys can see it here. We have 11 sectors, 9 sectors in the red today, not showing the strength, right? Really starting to pull back. Healthcare pulling back. Communication services pulling back. Financials pulling back. Industrials pulling back. Industrials, I have a feeling that are going to really start to break, like that Caterpillar move. I think this is showing a little bit of blow off top look here, where this might not even come back up here. And I would actually maybe even play this for like a short-term short and then look to flip long again, pullbacks. But what I'm going to be looking for is Deer to come back here towards kind of the 420s, the 410s, and then look to see if it can catch a bounce. Right now, I'm looking for XLI to actually pull back as I'm starting to see a lot of topping action. And this could actually start, getting a correction also. It's been a big lift there in the XLI. I could see it pulling back maybe 50%, maybe 6% of the move recently. So maybe this comes back towards the 105 area or 106. If XLI comes down like that, you're going to see some of these stocks really take a hit here. Honeywell going down, RTX coming down here, Lockheed Martin. If that you see stocks like this start to break down, be careful, team. These stocks could come down in a hurry. Boeing pulling back. Does it mean that these stocks are broken? No, but the correction coming in pretty fast. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what else is going on out there. PayPal being mentioned in the chat. We'll take a look at that. All right, the shrinking dogs. Yeah, they'll be shrinking really quickly, man. You know all about them, friends, at 7-Eleven if you know about the shrinking. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at what else is going on here. Technology also taking a big hit, right? We'll talk a little bit about that sector as you see stocks like Apple, Microsoft continue to the downside. If Microsoft keeps going lower, well, we're going to keep seeing some pullback. Meta might be pulling back a little bit. I talked about 310 being an area of maybe we find some support. So today we did get towards that 310. Let's see if we go back to it one more time and then hold that 310, reverse a little bit. But even a strong stock that got an outlook to 660, like Adobe, pulling back into that space and filling the gap. Does it mean this trend is broken? No, but we are seeing a little bit of correction in the market. Mitch talking YOLOs on earnings yet? Oh, yeah, it's coming right up, man. Stick around. You know it, man. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what else is going on in the market today. Energy pulling back. Of course, I've talked about that. Chevron is definitely still on my radar, but doesn't look good right now, team. We really need to see this start getting back going towards the 164, 165. But glad I didn't take another shot in Chevron today and take another loss. Yesterday, I tried it. I didn't try it today. All right, let's get out of energy. Let's go to basic materials. I've talked about this for a little bit of a while now. Silver and aluminum and gold leading the downside action move as aluminum turns right back around. So be careful with that Alcoa. It got a little lift, but that was very short-lived. Steel pulling back really quickly. And these look like it's very short-lived moved, right? We got a nice little lift off there in Nucor, but now we got a lot of topping action here, and it looks like we might get a little bit of some price correction here. You got to be careful there, as you're also seeing Cleveland Cliff take a major beating. Look at X right back down. So these basic materials, they definitely took a hit really quickly. And this is actually a good look overall for inflation if these basic materials can come right back down, because I was actually starting to get concerned that they would take off and give us inflation. So the only area that I did see a little bit of green today was in agricultural input. MOS having a really good day today. We'll look to see if this one can continue. Of course, this one's in potash. We'll see what happens with this if it wants to go ahead and continue to lift. You guys can also watch CF. These two like to trade together. CF has been trying to make a comeback move. We'll look to see if it holds 80 and gets back up there towards the 83. Doesn't look too bad. Earnings tomorrow on Coinbase. Yeah, we'll take a look at some earnings that are coming up right now. I can go ahead and do that in just a second here. Do want to go ahead and let you guys know. Looks like something hit there. Let's take a look here. Ooh, PXD. We are all out. I'm out of PXD, guys. This was a really nice gain on PXD. And so this just shows me that I got to be careful on oil. Oil overall could be turning around here. XOM, we'll look to see if that holds the 104.50. That's my only oil position now as I take in the profits there in PXD and can't be mad. It was a pretty good profit. So I took out half. I took out another little bit, and now I'm taking out a third. And that third was just as much as that first half that I took. That's what it's all about, traders. Expanding the win a little bit gave me a nice little lift. All right, let's go to these earnings reports tonight. We can keep talking about some other names, but I see you guys talking about a lot of earning stocks. So let's take a look at the calendar. Of course, there's some big ones tonight to pay attention to, and you guys see them there. They all line up. Qualcomm, Oxy, PayPal, Shopify, Robinhood, Unity, Etsy, Zillow's one I'm actually really interested in. I think Zillow could get the lift. I hate betting on earnings, but you know, I'll just at least mention it. I don't think I'll actually take a bet on it. But Zillow is one that I'm actually interested to see if it gets the upside boost. Let's take a look at some of these actions and see which some of these stocks could keep going. So let's do Qualcomm. Qualcomm, how am I feeling tonight? I'm feeling actually bullish, but it's a hard day to report, right? I do like this chart overall, but maybe with the report, it comes down towards the 125 and then catches the bounce. We'll see what happens tonight on Qualcomm. Let's keep going. Let's go to the next one here. Oxy, we'll see what happens there. Will it start to getting the lift or come right back down to 58? If it does come to 58, be careful because I don't know if Warren is ever going to just continue to buy. At some point, I think he's going to stop, and that's where you got to be careful on Oxy. All right, let's keep going. Let's go to the next one here. And of course, you guys have some in the chat. Throw them up there. I see PayPal mentioned in the chat. I'll take a look at that one. PayPal is pulling back here. Pulling back to the 73s, and I think it needs to hold right underneath here towards the 72 if it's going to get that next step up through the 78. If not, it could easily be back down there towards 70 and 69. So you got to be careful there with PayPal. It is trying to hold right now. Could make a move to 72 first before it starts to make a move back up. We'll see what happens here on PayPal. Square also starting to break back down, and that just shows me that we could be in correction mode, right? Maybe we start seeing 50% retracements. And a lot of times when I see and I see it right here, guys, a golden cross, a lot of times golden cross end up happening because there was this big surge before the market ripped. And so there was this big surge here that ended up driving the moving average really close to each other that causes the bullish cross, the golden cross, right? And now what I'd be looking for is for a pullback to get buttoned up and see that curve just take off. That's how we saw it in the big boys. That's what I'll be looking for now, is to see a little bit of some pullback and then eventually look to see if Square and PayPal can just really pull to the upside. PayPal, of course, the 200 is still way up here, but you see the 50 and how quickly it started moving up. These are the things that I think lead into that bullish cross. All right, we'll see what else is going on there. Merck mentioned in the chat. Merck was this morning, right? Merck had already reported. That looked like it's at 105. This looks like it could cut right back down and not stay up here. I think that overall on Merck, this is not kind of going to give you the biggest return. The monthly chart needs to hold the 105. If 105s don't hold, then the next layer is down towards 102s. And if that happens, you could easily just start cutting right back down. This is one that I'd probably get on longer term pullbacks, but it doesn't have the biggest upside either. It's very limited on the upside outlook here for Merck. All right, let's go to Coinbase. I got you, man. You wanted to take a look at Coinbase? Let's go. Let's take a look at it. Right now, it's already made a big move up right before this. So it could be trying to do a 50% retracement move. So you look at the recent action where it came off of. Maybe you can do it down here to the June spot. I'll just do it to this red candle here. And you guys can see about 50% retracement would be down there towards the 80 mark. So that's about the 80 mark where I could see it kind of holding in there. Of course, the earnings are going to come out, but one thing that I'll be looking for is for comments on what the SEC has involved them in, right? I keep hearing multiple comments of how they're trying to control Coinbase. Will they make comments about what they've been hit with by the SEC? I think all things to look out for. And Bitcoin overall has started to come down. So be careful there in Coinbase. I think you could get a little bit of a pullback to 80 and then maybe look to see if it gets back above 100. I don't feel that I like this stock the most, and you guys have known that I haven't been the biggest bull on Coinbase. I've been pretty much a bear since the very start, but we'll see what happens if this one can turn around. I could see that 85 and 80 coming back first, and then looking to see if it gets the lift. All right, NIO. Let's take a look there. NIO looks like it has made, of course, a couple of lifts and now has pulled back there towards the 9 EMA. We'll look to see if it gets the next lift. XPEV is one that I'll be watching, but you can see I cut down through the 9 EMA today. You're going to need a little bit of some support, some type of China news to really keep these going. BABA went up there above the 100, but it's easily just right back down to 95. That's how quickly China stocks come up and right back down. You got to be quick and take that profit. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what other ones are mentioned in the chat. Walter, the key is to watch volume off the stocks low. Low volume just fine. Also watch stocks that are running on days like today. EMR up, IP up are a few I've been buying. Hey, can't blame you. Let's go to Carvana, mentioned in the chat. I got you. That's not a bad one to take a look at. This one's starting to keep going. And I was talking about how you could see this start to get a nice little push, especially as you continue to see some of these short squeeze type of stocks continue to lift. But this one will eventually die. And I think that that's one thing that you got to keep in mind on Carvana. If you're starting to open up new positions here, you're asking to get a little bit of a pullback. And that can always happen because Carvana's up massive since the early part of the year, right? I mean, if you really think about it, since January, this stock is up about almost 1,000%. So keep that in mind, that how much more are you going to have in Carvana? Maybe we can get back up here towards this high. Maybe we can get back up there towards like 58, but that's only about 13% higher. And easily you could pull back towards this support, which would be a 20% move lower. So be careful there in Carvana. Affirm. Very similar stock, right? Showing that little topping action. Eventually, these are going to take a little bit of a pullback. Like I feel like Upstart had its topping today at 70. Am I going to take a trade off of that? No, because it's just a lot. It's a gamble here, right? But I do feel like it's kind of had its topped out moment and we'll probably pull back here towards like 60s and 55s. We'll see what happens there on UPST Upstart Holdings. BlackRock keeps collapsing. Yeah, it keeps pulling back pretty fast. JPM pulling back pretty fast. Goldman Sachs is one that I was looking to short just, I think, yesterday. And I got out of it as it popped right back up above here towards the 358s. But as you can see, it's actually lower now. And I could see these kind of pulling back. They had their run in the earnings and now can start to pull back. Look at Bank of America pulling back. Citi Group pulling back here today. So I think that these stocks are really starting to come right back down, these global banks. And for that being mentioned, be careful with the KRE. Will the KRE make the move there to 50 or start coming back down towards the 46? All right, XOP, of course, you're just talking oil. If you're looking at XOP, you're talking about exploration and production ETF. Does this look bad? No, it doesn't look bad at all. The weekly chart looks good, but the only thing that matters here is it going to hold trend and what will happen to WTI? Will it keep going above the 80s or did it hit resistance and not going to keep going to the next level? WTI has been resistance for a while at 82s for the whole year, pretty much. So if we can't get through that 82 spot, we're going to maybe start pulling back a little bit. So I'm going to keep an eye on it to see if oil is going to go to 88. And really, do I want it to go to 88? Not really, but I want to trade and make the money where I can. All right, that's going to be 332, guys. I'm going to go ahead and start to wrap it up here. The SPY overall, let's take a little bit of a peek here as we continue to leak down, now down to 449.50s. So I'm glad that I only have 3 swing positions on now because we took some gains today, right? Made secure that XOM and BJ are going to be in the green. And there's only one that potentially can get into the red, which is Humana on the long side. This is how I do what? Get from danger zone to making sure that I'm going to be in the profits. And what do I mean by danger zone? Well, you guys see the title. Why markets are screaming correction. When the market starts screaming correction, I look for rotation to turn against me, the leaders to start pulling back and giving some pullback. And of course, looking to see if there's other sectors that there's rotation going to those names. Today, some of those names were in the defensive area. Will those continue to run? Not really something that I expect to get a big lift in this pullback, but something that I can think about as I see this pullback happen, right? Another thing to keep in mind, right, is that we have to take some profits sometimes because if not, the market can take our profits for us. That's one thing I definitely don't want to do today. So earlier in the week, had 9 positions. Now, down to 3 positions. And I think that this is important. You need to be able to go up and down in your positions because sometimes we need to be more protective as traders. And then other times we need to hit that gas pedal. I'll see you guys right here on Start Swing Trade. And like always, catch some of the earnings reports right here on Benzinga. Qualcomm will be up today, so you guys can catch that earnings report and earnings call right here, of course, on Benzinga. We'll see you next time, guys. Smack that like. I'll see you next time right here, of course, on PreMarket Prep tomorrow morning. And I appreciate for the comments out there. I hope you guys have a good one. Keep battling out there. We'll see what happens in the market. Always be willing to be flexible. Be willing to get out of your trades, especially if you've been killing it lately, because we can always take a reassessment, get back into trades. Now, one thing that we can't do as swing traders is get caught in the rotation. And next thing you know, you look at all your positions in the red, and that's when you're just like, oh man, what did I just do? Don't be that trader. Like always, keep battling, team. We'll see you next time. Hit the like button, keep pushing, and no, AMC, I mean, this is the time when you start looking at it, but wait till I get that pop back above 5. Is it setting up for a move? It could be, but to each his own, right? We'll see you next time, guys. Smash the like. I'll see you bright and early on PreMarket Prep.